Hey, welcome to part 2 of a 2-part video on 5 exercises to engage remote teams. The video ran a little bit long in part 1, and so we decided to split it up. And so in this video, we're gonna unpack exercise number 4 and 5, which I would call You Can Quote Me and Virtual Slideshow. Without further ado, I'm Chad, let's get into it. Number 4, you can quote me. There's this really interesting thing with quotes, right? Human beings, I don't know why, but human beings really love quotes. Words that were written down by other people, put in some nice design, right? So even if you are a minority of one, the truth is the truth. Now this happens to be said by a very wise person, but even if this was quoted like by Bob, just because it's written down and it becomes a thing, right? And somehow those words have more impact. And one of my favorite quotes is from a mentor of mine who said that a choice of words is often a choice of worlds. And so this closing exercise, You Can Quote Me, the idea and the framing for it is to flip the script. Instead of just having people react or respond to quotes, which by the way, the quote that I'm holding up, and the reason that I actually created We Engage cards, this deck of cards of a bunch of quotes and images, the reason that we put quotes on them is because we noticed that the impact that quotes had on people sparked really meaningful discussion and raised engagement and thoughtfulness and critical thinking in a way that simple prompt or anything else didn't. So for this closing exercise, when I'm leading it, I use the framing, it's strange that quotes are typically from dead people and we read them and we're like, oh, look at that wisdom. But the thing is, they're just people, right? Even quotes from people who aren't dead, they're just people. Now, oftentimes they're famous or well-known, or they've written a book, or there's some reason that they're quoted. However, there's no reason that every member on your team can't be quotable if they intend to. And so for this closing exercise, that's my framing, and I simply say in the chat, or I have people unmute and share, or write down on a sticky note, can you summarize this entire meeting in one quote? So the intention here is to sound wise, to sound eloquent, to sound witty, to sound funny, whatever a quote is to you, to write down a quote that summarizes this meeting. Super simple, super quick, and super powerful. And sharing this also reminds me that even though I'm framing these as closing exercises, a lot of these with a little twist, a little adaptation, a little bit of a different framing can also become starter exercises. They can kick off your meetings with connection before content in a really engaging way, or they can be a great attention reset to kind of reset the energy in the room and get out of the consumption model and move into the contribution mindset. Number 5 is the virtual slideshow. 0 screen sharing is involved. This does not involve PowerPoint or Google Slides or anything like it. Virtual slideshow utilizes the feature specifically in Zoom of speaker view. So when you're in speaker view in Zoom, whoever is speaking shows up big on everyone's screen. And so a really cool way to wrap up, and you can kind of tie this into activity number 1 of application anchors, is to have sort of a checkout where each of your team members share something, but make sure that invite everybody to be in speaker view, and just have the team share alphabetical order by first name so you don't have to figure out who goes first, last, etc. And invite the group to share something that has some intention. So the way you could connect it to application anchors is they could hold up their object, and the reason it's a virtual slideshow and not just people talking is pair it with something visual. So have somebody grab, or have everybody grab an image that represents one takeaway from the meeting, or an image that represents one thing they want to accomplish the next time they meet. And as they share, invite them to use that object to cover up most of the screen so that in speaker view, it looks almost just like a slide, but it has them live narrating in the background. And as soon as they're done, you as the leader or facilitator don't need a segue in between. As soon as they're done, they remove that and the next person goes. And so it's just kind of this slideshow that is rolling through. Super simple, easy way. But it increases the amount of connection and engagement, because if you've been meeting in gallery view a whole bunch, or if people have their meeting set to gallery view, people are just little tiny pixelated boxes. And so when you get in speaker view, you get to see that person. It feels a little bit more like they teleported into your room as opposed to just being this little tiny pixelated box on your screen. There is a sixth exercise. It's one of my favorites. It's called Group Anthem, and I talk about it in one of these videos linked here. I can't remember, but one of these videos linked here discusses Group Anthem and the way to wrap up in probably my favorite way. I didn't share it in this video because I've already shared it in these videos. I loved hanging out with y'all in cyberspace. If you want a deck of these cards or any other tools, there's free digital versions in the link below. Awesome hanging out with you. Have an awesome day.